If your pitch to models is a 50-50 split, that is not an offer, that's a fucking price tag. And it's why all the quality models don't trust you or stick around. And in this video, I am gonna show you how to create an offer so irresistible that it makes models say yes on the spot and actually wanna give you 50% of their income. Because right now you're blending in with the hundreds and thousands of other agencies DMing the same girl. So let me show you how to actually build a bold, unique offer that makes you the only option they consider, right? We're gonna talk about psychology principles. We're gonna get into all this different stuff in this video today. It's gonna be a good one, so lock in. If you can't pay attention for a couple of minutes, like just fucking, you're probably not gonna make it in business anyway, right? If you can't pay attention for the next like 20, 30 minutes, you're probably not gonna make it anyway. So you may as well click off and go doom scroll and go back to what you was doing. But if you actually care and wanna make a difference in your life, then just fucking pay attention. Let's just get straight into it. So if your offer doesn't make them feel stupid for saying no, then you really don't have a business, right? You have a liability with a fucking logo on it. And I get it. Look, you think it's your content, you think it's your niche, you think it's your price, but I'm telling you with 100% certainty, it's your offer, right? It's weak, it's soft, and it doesn't make people feel anything. So let me ask you this. When someone sees what you do they feel relieved? Do they feel like they finally found a thing they didn't even know they were looking for? Or do they just scroll, right? Or do they just ignore you? Or wherever, right? If your offer doesn't hit like a fucking, like a punch in the gut, like a wake-up call to the current situation, then I don't care how many DMs you send, how much you spend on ads, how good your referral system is, you are pretty much selling A, okay? So, you know how many entrepreneurs die in the friend zone, right? Like, talented, they're smart, they're reliable, but the market sees them and goes, that's nice, or maybe later, or let me think about it, right? That's death. They don't want nice, they want fucking visceral, right? You want a visceral yes or visceral no, because anything in between is invisible, right? It needs to be polarizing. So the problem isn't that you're bad at marketing, it's that your offer doesn't convert strangers into believers, right? You've built something that you think's helpful, but they don't wake up thinking, man, I really need a fucking lead magnet funnel automation growth ecosystem thingy. No, they wake up thinking, I'm fucking drowning and I need a fucking lifeline, right? And if your offer isn't that, then you're always going to struggle. So I'll say something that might sting, right? You're not broke because you're not talented. You're broke because you're not specific enough about how you solve someone else's pain. Because pain is the currency, right? Certainty is the conversion, and your offer is the vessel, okay? And so we're gonna build you a new one, right? Not a feature list, not a clever name, not a fucking price, a weapon that turns OnlyFans models into hot pouring fucking money, right? And so in this video, it's not just gonna be theory, it's gonna be a fucking strategy, right? It's going to be you versus irrelevance. It's going to be you versus apathy. It's going to be you versus the sea of mid offers that look just like yours. It's going to be you versus, you turning from Toyota commodity to becoming a sought after Porsche, right? So by the end of this, your offer is going to be powerful, to say the least. That everyone's actually going to want to say no. So sit up, pay attention. It's not a marketing video, right? I'm not going to fucking sell you anything. This is your last fucking excuse. So you ever wonder why some people will spend $1,000 on a course without blinking, but ghost your $300 service like you just asked for a fucking kidney, right? So this is an analogy that I heard Hamosi say actually, right? And he said something along the lines of like, do you ever wonder why some people will spend $20,000 on a course without blinking, but ghost your $300 service like you asked for a kidney? It's not about the product, it's not about the price, it's about it's about what it touches inside them, right? Because every sale is emotional first. Every conversation is just a relief from pain disguised as a logical decision. People don't buy products, they buy escape, they buy status, they buy relief from pressure that they can't even name out loud, right? And so let me give you the sequence. People have a drive, right? Something primal. That drive actually creates a goal, right? AKA a better future that they're craving. But between where they are and where they want to be, there's a problem. And that problem creates pain. And pain creates the need for action, but no one moves unless they feel confidence that the thing will work. And so that's the chain, right? This is literally the chain. Drive creates goal creates problem creates pain creates action creates confidence, right? So drive, goal, problem, pain, action, confidence. And your offer, if your offer isn't touching those 6 pressure points like a fucking symphony, then you're just noise, right? So here's what the fake marketers never tell you, right? You don't create pain, you expose the pain that's already there. And you make it so uncomfortable that they finally have to move, right? Because most people live in quiet desperation. They tolerate problems until those problems break their self-image, and in that moment, that's when they buy. So your offer, and this is the dark psychology that no one's going to tell you, right? Like, no one will tell you that you don't create pain. You just have to expose the pain that's already there, and you have to just make it so uncomfortable that they finally have to move. But that's the truth, right? Because again, most people live in quiet desperation. They tolerate problems until those problems break their self-image, and in that moment, that's when they buy. So if your offer is an improvement offer, it's not going to work, right? If your offer isn't just a solution, it's a mirror, and it shows them the cost of inaction and gives them a way out before the reflection gets unbearable, that is when you're going to win, right? So, what about confidence? Okay, well, you need to build it from 3 places. You only build confidence from 3 places, right? Because again, they can have the drive, which creates the goal, which creates the problem, which creates the pain, which gets them to want to take action. But if they don't have the confidence, which is the last piece of the puzzle, they're not going to act. And so how do you create confidence? Well, you need to build it from 3 places. Your offer, which is like 80% of it. Like, you don't even have to have the other 2 I'm going to mention as long as you have a dialed offer. So your offer, right? Clear, outcome driven, no-brainer logic, polarizing, so on and so forth. You, which is your conviction, not confidence, conviction, right? That's how else you can create confidence. And thirdly, your clients. Those are the only 3 places that you can build confidence in your market, in your prospect, in your ideal avatar. Your offer, you, and your clients. AKA your clients meaning results, stories, proof that they can see themselves inside of it. If you don't have clients, you don't need it, right? You just need conviction and an offer, or just an offer if it's good enough, right? If you have all 3, yes, the Holy Trinity is going to be easy, but you really don't. Like, you can just have a good offer and you're good. Or you can just have tons of conviction and you'll be good, right? Or you can just have crazy client results and you'll be good, right? But if you have all 3, it's the trifecta, okay? It's the holy grail. But guess what? Even if you have no testimonials, like I said, if your offer is engineered right with a risk reversal, bull guarantees, and proof baked into the structure, you'll win anyway, because offers can carry 80% of the weight if they're done right. You don't need to become fucking Jordan Belford. You just need to stop sounding like a resume. Oh, we're going to help you with TikTok. We're going to improve your chatting ratios from to 1 to 10. We're gonna we also offer DMCA removal takedowns, and we also will book you VIP flights, and we'll also bring you to events, and we will also have give you a creative director. Wow. Let's move on, right? Most of your competitors, they're trying to convince people, right? We don't need to, right? We just show them the truth. The pain they're already drowning in, the future they desperately want, and the bridge they didn't know existed until now. You are the bridge. Your offer is the bridge. That's what a real offer is, right? It's not what do I sell, but what pain do I expose? What confidence do I inject? What action do I force? That's it, right? That is it. So, until you learn how to build pressure, your pipeline is always gonna leak. But once you do, you'll realize you never had a sales problem, you had an offer problem, okay? So, every human walks around with 2 versions of themselves. The life they live in now and the life that they can't stop fantasizing about. The difference between those 2, that's called the gap. And the gap is where all the money is made, because here's the truth. People don't buy products, they buy staircases. And so your offer isn't the goal, your offer is the vehicle to the goal, right? And that's the mistake that 90% of businesses make. They think that they're selling websites or lead gen or chatting systems or traffic systems, but that's not what the market wants. The market wants 20K a month instead of 3K a month. They want freedom from working 12 hours a day. They want relief from looking in the mirror and feeling like a failure, right? And if your offer doesn't explicitly say, hey, you are here, you want to be there, and I've built the fastest, most certain bridge to get you there, then what are you even selling, right? So let's actually talk about it for a second, right? Where are you right now? Are you living with the pressure of knowing that you're better than your results? Are you sick of seeing other people win with worse products, with less experience, with dumber strategies, just because they knew how to craft a better offer, right? That gap you feel, that's the same gap that your audience feels. So use it, okay? And this is where the offer lives, right? Not on this side, not on that side, in the middle. And so your job is to create so much clarity around this bridge that they can't unsee it. And the best offers even have a fucking trampoline underneath the bridge and up the staircase. So even if the offer goes tits up and you can't deliver, and even if the worst case scenario, they fall off that staircase, off that bridge, the trampoline's going to bounce them back up, at least, maybe not as far as to where they was, but at least further than where they was when they started with you, right? That's what the best offers do, right? So you don't just show them a gap, you make them feel it, right? And so you got to create so much clarity around this bridge that they can't unsee it, right? And so you don't just show them the gap, you make them feel it. The pain of staying here, the peace of being there, and the seriousness of doing nothing. Those are the things you need to write. The pain of staying where they're at, the peace of being where they want to be, and then the seriousness around them not taking action and doing nothing. That's what you need to make them feel, right? And most people never cross the gap. Not because they can't, but because no one ever showed them the way in a language they could feel. Okay, that's the best way to explain it, right? Most people never cross the gap, not because they can't, but because no one ever showed them the way in a language that they could feel, right? And so your offer needs to speak that language, their fears, their failures, their fantasies, their future. Because when someone sees an offer that feels like it was built for them, they stop scrolling and they start nodding, right? And they pull out their fucking card and they want to buy. And so remember this, right? The market doesn't reward effort. The market rewards clarity. The clearer your offer makes the escape, the faster they actually move toward it, right? So if you can show them, look, you can escape this situation fast because I've already solved all the problems that you're trying to solve, and I'm standing on this pillar of confidence to show you how I've done it for other people and how I can do it, and I have so much conviction, and I'm literally gonna like make you escape this faster and move toward it. Like that's what you need to do, right? So the clearer your offer makes the escape, the faster they move toward it. So if you're not getting clients, it's not a content problem, it's not a niche problem, it's not a sales problem, it's a clarity problem, and clarity comes from bridging the gap, right? Like their life depends on it, may I add, because sometimes it actually does, right? Again, let me say that again, right? Clarity comes from bridging the gap, like their life depends on it, because sometimes it actually does. So there are two reasons why someone hasn't paid you yet, become a client yet, whatever you want to say. They don't feel enough pain, they don't feel enough confidence. That's it, right? That's it. Every other excuse is just a sugar-coated indecision. You can post, you can pitch, you can pray, but if your offer isn't triggering one and eliminating the other, you're playing with blunt weapons in a fucking sniper war, right? So let's talk pain. Pain isn't a bad thing, it's the best thing, because pain is the engine behind all buyer behavior. Nobody buys solutions or improvement offers, they buy relief. They buy certainty that the pain will stop. But use the nuances that most rookies miss. You don't create pain, you expose it and then you amplify it. Quietly, ethically, and strategically, right? You can't create pain. You can't go to an OnlyFans creator and say, you are not doing this right, you are shit. If they're not feeling pain, they're just not going to be your buyers, right? There's a portion of the market that's never going to be your buyers, and that's fine, right? But the people that are in pain, you just expose it, amplify it, quietly, ethically, strategically, right? So you amplify pain by targeting the reservoirs that are already drowning in, right? So you've got the conscious problems, right? For example, I can't grow on Instagram. You've then got the unconscious needs. I don't feel seen. You've got them having what is wanted, right? So for example, I'm in a job I hate, right? So that's having what isn't wanted. Then you've got wanting what isn't had, right? So I want to earn 20K a month, but don't know how. And then you've got the consequences. If this keeps going, I'll lose everything, right? These are the reservoirs they're drowning in. Conscious and unconscious, right? And so if you hit these quietly with stories, with content, with mirrors, with language that pressurizes their reality until doing nothing becomes unbearable, that is how you win, right? Because most people tolerate their pain. And that is the problem, okay? Your offer must make the cost of staying the same feel unbearable. And now, that's when you pull the second lever, which is confidence, right? And so you can crank pain all day, but if they don't believe there's a way out, then they're gonna freeze. They'll stay stuck and they'll justify mediocrity. They'll say, this won't work for me. So your job is to remove doubt and replace it with trust. And so there's also what I call the reservoirs of confidence, which again is your offer, right? The tangible, outcome-focused, polarizing risk reversal. You, again, calm conviction. I've done this, I can do it again. And your clients, right? Case studies, proof, screenshot, stories. Again, they see themselves inside of them, people, right? So your offer needs to leak certainty. It needs to breathe believability, and it needs to make them feel like you already know them better than they know themselves. And so here's how you actually win this game. You turn up pain until they squirm, and you turn up confidence until they smile. And when you get that ratio right, you will hit what I call the action threshold. You will hit the action threshold. And that is the tipping point where doing nothing feels dumber than swiping the card, right? And the sale becomes inevitable. So pain makes them move, confidence makes them trust, your offer makes them believe. And if it doesn't do all three, you don't have an offer, you have a fucking brochure of services, okay? So most people try to sell offers that make logical sense, but that's not enough. Your offer needs to make emotional dominance. It needs to feel one-sided. It needs to feel so certain, so weighted in their favor that saying yes becomes the safest possible option and saying no starts to feel like self-sabotage. So let me show you how we do it, right? Let's break it down. Number one is the outcome. What's their dream state that they want more than anything, right? Not help with marketing, but 5,000 new subscribers in 90 days, or 20K a month added to their bottom line, or 30 hours a week back in your life, right? Make the outcome visceral, tangible, and measured. And if you can't measure, then they won't believe it, right? If you can't measure, they won't believe it. Number two, time frame. When will they get the results? Are they going to get it in 2 days, in 24 hours, in 90 days, in 6 weeks, in 7 days? Urgency doesn't come from pressure, it comes from specificity. So people believe what they can see, and so give them a clear time horizon. Then you have the method. How will you actually deliver the outcome, right? Are you going to be using this 3-step funnel system? Well, I don't fucking know, whatever you want to say, right? It doesn't need to be long, it just needs to be named, packaged, and repeatable. A good method equals instant credibility. Number 4 is the secrets. What makes a difference? What's your special sauce, right? People don't want normal, they want new opportunities, they want unfair advantages, right? Your secret is often the frame, right? The system that no one in the niche is using yet. The TikTok strategy, the TikTok, like how we're exploiting TikTok. I don't fucking know, wherever you want to do, right? The secret, right? Give it a name, make it sound protected, and the more proprietary it feels, the more powerful it becomes. Number 5, the safety net, right? Here's the part that turns maybe into a fuck yes, right? It turns a maybe into a fuck yes. If it doesn't work, you don't pay. Or we work for free until you get X, or we'll pay you 1,000 if we fail, wherever, right? Risk reversal is how you just inject confidence directly into the bloodstream. It's not marketing, right? It's neurological insulation. You're wrapping their fear in bubble wrap and throwing it in the trash. Number 6, polarization, right? This one's like subtle, but it's just like a must. It's deadly. You want to actually exclude people, right? So this is only for creators making at least $5,000 a month. So if you don't want to show your face, this is not for you. If you're not on social media, this is not for you, right? Or we're not here for people that treat it like a side hustle. Exclusion actually builds magnetism for the people that it's for. And so the fewer people your offer is for, the more powerful it feels to those who qualify. It's counterintuitive, but it's very fucking necessary. Then you have pricing, right? Finally, right? Price. Number 7, most people price by looking at their own pockets or by looking at the market. They say, well, everyone else is charging 50%, so I'll charge 30%, right? That's how you end up broke and bitter, right? That's a race to the bottom. Only stupid people compete on price, right? And so that's how you end up broke and bitter. Yeah, you might rise fast, but you're going to go broke and bitter. Instead, flip the question. If I charge 10x this price, what would I have to deliver to make it worth it? And then go build that, right? And watch people thank you for charging more. Because when you charge more, you can make a product, you can make a service, and everything better. You can get better results. You're actually doing a disservice to everyone in your market and the clients that you help by charging lower. Because price is a signal of value. And when done right, a high price validates the outcome and makes the offer feel more trustworthy, right? So this is how you build an offer that bends reality. A promise that feels undeniable, a time frame that creates urgency, a method that creates structure, a secret that creates differentiation, a safety net that eliminates fear, a price that screams this is not normal, and a wall that says this isn't for everyone. You're not just creating an offer, you're creating a new standard of what it means to say yes to you. And if your competitors doesn't match that energy, they've already lost. And that is something that I want you to understand that most people never will, right? Your offer isn't just a pitch, it's not just words, it's a lever. And when you pull it correctly, it shifts everything. Your entire business rises or falls on your offer. It is the rising tide that can lift all ships within your business. And so here's what happens when you fix your offer. Your sales conversions jump. Your appointment booking rate improves. Your show up rate increases. Your close rate becomes inevitable. Your marketing systems become frictionless. You stop persuading and you start filtering. You stop begging and you start selecting. So let me give you an example, right? 2 agencies, same niche, same traffic source, same team. Agency A, we help creators grow. Agency B, we guarantee X amount of subscribers in 180 days, or you get your money back plus XYZ on top, blah, 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 right? Wherever you want to say. The same traffic, the same skill, but one of them closes 5 times more deals and raises their price 3x. Why? Because the offer carries the weight. Because in business, leverage always beats effort, right? This is why persuasion is overrated. A weak offer requires extreme persuasion. A strong offer closes itself. You could be terrible at sales, but if your offer is good, people will talk themselves into buying. So this is what I call the offer exponent, right? A bad offer is like 2 to the power of 1, which we all know equals 2, right? And an okay offer is like 2 to the power of 3, which equals 8. But a holy fuck offer is like 2 to the power of 9, which is like 512, right? And so the same business, the same founder, the same work ethic, but one tweak to the offer and it's 512 times more powerful. That's what happens when you stop guessing and start engineering offers with precision, right? Look, you probably are doing 10 things right, but one weak offer dilutes all of it. And so it's going to make your outreach feel desperate. It's going to make your brand feel foggy. It's going to make your client conversations feel like fucking uphill battles, right? Because that's what it does, right? But when your offer is dialed, your funnel hits, your ads convert better. People DM you saying, this is what I've been looking for. And you finally realize you didn't need more hustle. You just needed more clarity, right? Because the right offer doesn't just change your sales. It changes your identity in the marketplace from just another commodity, from just another service provider to the only person worth listening to, right? And so you want to know the real reason why most agencies struggle? They're doing everything right except for the one thing that makes everything work. Their offer is trash. Not because they're lazy, but because they've made one or more of the 5 deadly mistakes. So let me show you what they are. And if you spot even one in your business, burn it, rebuild it, because you're leaking money and you don't even know it, right? Mistake number 1 is copycatting competitors. Everyone in my niche says this, so I'll say it too. That's what they're thinking, right? They're copycatting competitors. Every agency says this, so I'm going to say it too, right? Cool. Now you sound like everyone else. You've become a whisper in a sea of noise. Offers are not built to fit in, they're built to stand alone. You don't want to be a better version of your competitor, you want to make them irrelevant. Think market of one. Think, I've never seen this before. If your offer doesn't create separation, it creates confusion. Mistake number 2, playing it safe. You write a safe offer, a clean offer, a respectable offer, and that's why no one cares. Safe offers do not inspire confidence, they scream fear. You want bold, brave, ballsy. You want, I don't even know if I can fucking deliver on this offer, right? We'll work for free until we blah, 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 blah. Whatever you want to say, right? That's a very broad market example. Do not use any of the, please, all the examples I've used, mistake number 1, do not copy, right? I promise you, you're just going to fucking make this entire video relevant if you start using the words I've said. If you say, we're going to do this in 90 days, we're going to guarantee this amount of subs. If you say any of that shit, if you say we're going to work for free, blah, 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 we'll double this, you're going to fail. I fucking promise you, right? They scream fear. You want bold, brave, and ballsy, right? If your prospect doesn't feel like you've got skin in the game, they'll always assume you're playing not to lose, right? So safe offers repel decision makers. They smell like risk without reward. Mistake number 3, complicating the message. This one's sneaky, but you think more details equals more clarity, but that's wrong. More details equals more confusion. If you were saying shit like our 9-stage multi-platform dynamic solution combining layered optimization and omni-channel support. Bird brain, no one cares, right? If you can't explain your offer in one sentence, you do not have an offer. You have a presentation. Simplify the offer, simplify the language, simplify the message until a 5th grader could understand. If it doesn't pass the dumb friend test, it doesn't belong in your funnel, right? Mistake 4, being generic to the market. A generic offer sounds like this. We help OnlyFans creators scale with TikTok. Great. That could be anything, right? Or we help businesses scale with systems. Great. That could be anything, right? That could be no one. But a dialed offer says, we help 5K a month OnlyFans creators scale to 50K a month without burning out using our DM automation system, right? Now it lands, now it sticks. The more it feels like it was written for them, the more they assume you've already solved that exact problem before. Remember, do not talk to everyone, talk to one specific person with one specific problem and one undeniable promise. Mistake number 5, right? Like the last mistake is building an offer around the product. This one will kill you slowly, right? You say, I know how to do X, so I'll sell X, but that's backwards. The market doesn't care what you want to sell, they care what they want to buy. So flip the script, start with a bold claim they desperately want to believe, then build a product around that promise, right? So stretch yourself, not the offer. Let the market dictate the dream, and then you go figure out how to fulfill it. That's how you force yourself into greatness. So if your offer sounds like your competitors, plays not to lose, confuses instead of clarifies, tries to serve everyone, and is limited by your current skills, you will always struggle, right? If you're willing to flip the switch, if you're willing to step into discomfort, make the claim that scares you a little, and back it with your full being, that's when the tide turns. Your offer is either the greatest leverage or your loudest liability. Let me say that again. Your offer is either your greatest leverage or your loudest liability. And if you're not getting the results you want, now you know exactly why. So people do not buy the best product. They buy the product that feels like it understands them best. This is resonance, and it's the most powerful force in client acquisition. It's when your offer doesn't just solve the problem, it names it, it validates it, and it reflects it back to them so clearly that they feel exposed and understood in the same breath. And use what resonance sounds like in their head. How the hell do they know what I've been feeling? This sounds exactly like the conversation I've been having with myself. Finally, someone gets it, right? That reaction is not accidental, it's engineered, and it comes from understanding the latent conditions of the market. These are the emotional frequency that your market is operating on, right? They're already operating on this. The stuff that they don't say out loud, but they feel every day. And so here's what this looks like for creators, right? But it applies to everyone trying to grow. I feel like I should be further ahead by now. I've been burnt by fake promises before. I'm scared I'll waste years doing it wrong. I don't want to admit that how much this is affecting my confidence. I can feel the window closing and I don't want to miss it. These are unspoken truths, and if your offer touches these without them ever saying it out loud, you win. Because now you're not solving a problem, you're giving language to their suffering, right? And so this is why most marketing feels fake. It's because it's all tactics and hooks and promises. But when you hit the emotional residue that someone carries, that's when the sale doesn't feel like a transaction, it feels like a rescue. Your offer becomes the hand that reaches into the chaos and says, I know what you're going through, I built something for exactly this, and I'll get you out if you're ready. That's resonance. It's not louder, it's deeper, right? So how do you do this, right? Again, this is going to be, pay attention. I know this is long, but how do you do this? Talk to your market. Listen more than you speak, right? Write down the exact words they use to describe their fears. Infuse those words into your offer messaging, your copy, your pitch. Do 80 hours of market research, right? And don't sell from your head, sell from their heart, right? Don't sell from your head, sell from their heart. Because people don't need more solutions. They need to feel like they're not alone and like someone finally built the exact ladder to get them out of the hole they've quietly been stuck in for years. So there's someone out there right now scrolling in silence, right? They're tired, they're frustrated, they're embarrassed. They bought the wrong programs, trusted the wrong people, joined the wrong agencies, and they told themselves they'd figure it out for too long. And today they'll scroll past another 100 pieces of content that mean nothing, but your offer, it could be the one thing that finally cuts through because it speaks their language, it mirrors their pain, and because it actually cares about solving the thing that's killing them softly. So here's what you do now. Build that offer, make it undeniable, and tune it in so perfectly that when they see it, they stop and whisper, finally, this was built for me.